Okay. Good evening and good night to all of you. Well, I shouldn't say that because that's usually a goodbye. I am not trying to say that. I am here to talk about value tonight. Why? Because I realize that there's a difference in the value I put upon myself and invest into myself and believe in myself to be, and the value that others see me. And to most people, this would be insulting to have somebody devalue you. But this is unfortunately normal. It is normal to not be a similar value to every person that you know and interact with. I am living in that truth. The reason why I am living in this truth is because, as discussed before, there is a person, well, there's a few people in my life, but this particular person is clearly seeing my value to them as less than, and that is a fair evaluation, I would have to say, because of the disconnect for so long. That is a perfectly fine evaluation. But I also have come into contact with somebody I have not spoken to for a year. So, comparatively, similar things have happened with both individuals. Both individuals I have been intimate with. Both individuals I had to had a really bad separation from. But this second individual I never actually dated. And both individuals I had separated from for years, or at least a year, due to the events going on in my life. And, okay, that means it's been a while. I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of working again. Welcome to my work chat. But, you see, both are similar. But where these females differ is that one values me and has missed me and wishes to reconnect as a good friend, and is very much more mentally mature than when I left her. And I praise her for that. And she's going through a lot of similar stuff like me. And she's essentially just trying to be the better person. Just trying to be this better person. And she's found her way of doing it, which I applaud. Now, she is willing to see me. She is willing to hang out with me. She is willing to bring back the physicality of not, and it does not mean sex, but the physicality of acknowledging me as a person in her life because of the connection and the desire to want to respect each other. And she's ready for that. That's her step, and the step is beautiful. So she has braved. Sorry, I have alarms that need to have batteries replaced. But she has braved essentially I'll just make that this way I could talk. But like, I find this person to be courageous, and I find the other person to still be courageous, the first person. I'm not going to name these people just because I respect them, and it is not my place to, well, it is not my wish to insult anybody. It is not my intent to do such a thing. But it is my intent to vent out my thoughts. So, this first person I find courageous because they have taken the steps that they need to in their journey, trying to essentially go about their own way of ensuring that they are safe, essentially. There are walls that still have not come down. Let's just put it that way. Let's just make this as if you can physically see a wall. And this wall is there. This wall is palpable. This wall is essentially what is halting progress to move forward, because this wall must go through the journey of realizing and evaluating and accepting its worth. And they do it their own way, and I applaud it. Not that anybody needs my approval, but that's essentially what I do, is I applaud it. And I find it to be interesting that I am in the midst of this one person's journey to evaluate their self-worth, and essentially they're not ready for the wall to come down. And I have now entered myself into the other person's reality of just now being able to vocalize and be proud of their journey and their self-worth and what they found about themselves. And it just happens to be a similar circumstance of what I'm going through. So, value. I value them both. And yet, I know that my value to them is extremely polar opposite. I am thankful for the second person in helping me, well, by accepting my apology, and willing to physically accept me. This way we can both move forward and truly bond again, because this person is not only somebody I wish to value again, this person has a connection to a friend of my brother. And this person, getting along with this person, becoming friends again with this person, realizing we have so much in common, again, would be nice, because then that means I can accept him back into my life and essentially help him come to terms finally after almost, it's approaching 2 years very soon, of almost 2 years of my brother being passed, and essentially an urn on my bookshelf. And we're all taking that because my brother is the reason why both people are in my life again. My brother's passing brought me to talk to the first person again, because she wanted to know what happened to him, and I explained. And my brother's passing also brought me to the second person, in which are very odd starting, but very real closeness. Can't say relationship, can't say friendship, can't say anything else. Our strange closeness began after my brother's passing. So, this is interesting for me. I feel as though I am more valued by one over the other. Fair enough. I am no longer by one over the other. Essentially, the first person I've no longer. The second person I knew I had just met a month prior, before my brother died, and knew her 6 months afterward, before the disconnect happened. And then essentially we fell out. But I just find it interesting, because I value myself, and I value my feelings, and I value how I feel. And I realize how I am allowing myself to feel due to this first person's journey needing to be distant, and this second person's journey needing to be close. You know, like, one seems to understand completely the reconciliation process, while the other is attempting to stand on their own 2 feet at last. However, is diminishing relationships that could be good for when their journey of being alone is at its end. And as I've said before, it is unique that my value of myself is helped by the relationship with one person and encouraged by the relationship with the other person, however, is diminished within the first person's view who helps it, and is highly praised in the second person's view who embraces it, you know? So, essentially, I know what I want. Essentially, I know who I am. And essentially, I know that my self-worth should not be determined by those around me. Even though sometimes it's a good thing. It is not necessary in this case. Actually, I could say that a lot better. Sorry, I do not mean to leave you watching me work. But this is about the only time I feel like talking, apparently. No, but eventually I think that one relationship will be worth it in the end because I know the person. In the end, I think that what has to come out and what has to happen and being in the midst of it will bring me closer to this person if they allow it. It could also push me away indefinitely, which would be a pity because it had already been some time past. So to essentially throw it away again because of the inconvenience of emotion, as well as the lack of self-care to open up to others. It's just the fact that I know we could be good friends. We have the potential, essentially. And I hate to squander that potential just because of some self-conscious, not self-conscious decisions that were just rash interactions that just happened to play out, and emotional boundaries that could have just very well been walked through, you know? Excuse me. Life is too short. And I don't know if anybody else thinks about this. But the time that passes, however much time you need, no matter where you mentally are, your physical being is still aging. You are still on the crossroads to getting older and then losing so many chances to experience everything you wanted in life. And, you know, we all make those choices, and some of us unfortunately die because some choices just happen to come with the consequence of the unknown, essentially. Like, you could take a trip tomorrow to Peru and all of a sudden the plane would crash and you'd be probably dead. Like, but that's the choice you made. You chose on that day with certain circumstances to go to that place but never reach the destination. And you probably saved up for years, you know? It's just how I'm seeing things. I don't wish to live my life in regret any longer. I don't wish to live my life wondering what coulda, shoulda, woulda, if only. I will put myself out there entirely. I made a mistake. I probably pissed this person off. Oh well. Sorry. I can't memorize everything. I'm tired. You see, I'm human. I make mistakes. And honestly, I'd rather make mistakes. I'd rather make mistakes and live with them than not make mistakes at all and wish I would have done something more. Okay, there we go. But that's how I'm evaluating it, is that, yeah, I'm making my mistakes now, even though I should be moving forward. I am stepping back because there's somebody I have to take care of first. And this person, ironically, is still me. I work too late. I'm apologizing 1,000 times, like, sorry. No, but I think I'm ready. I think I'm more than ready to embrace a lot of shit. Like, I even talked about a fucking plane crash, and my dumb ass is going on a plane in a matter of months. Yeah, now I'm scared. Oh, God. Why don't I just scare myself out of life in general? No, but honestly, I just am starting to value my relationships, whatever they may be. And I do realize that there's probably a part of me that some people are not going to accept eventually. And then there's a part of me that people already don't accept. Like, I do believe if I had stayed who I was, I probably would have once one of these people in my past back. However, the question, and I think I know the answer already, is would I have been happy? And the absolute honest truth, no. No, I would not have been happy. Because even though I would have been what they wanted me to be, this goes for anybody who did try and reconciliate with me as a woman. A girl, ugh, oh God, that just made me sick. But this is for anybody who did try to reconciliate with me. Would I have been happy with the reconciliation as a female? And the honest to God answer is that I probably would have committed suicide eventually. You see, I don't take back anything about myself. I don't regret who I am. I don't wish to turn back the clock and be that person, because that person wasn't a parent, and my children give me the greatest meaning in life that I could ever imagine. Their mere existence has grounded my mentality. Their very their very essence, the fact of who they are, of who they're going to be, and who I am to them. That's another place of value. I am valued as their parent. I am valued as their papa. And I find that to be amazing. More amazing than if I was valued by a stranger on the street or somebody I had even known for years. Because those people are always on the outside of me. They're always on the outside, and they will always be on the outside looking in. Whereas my children have grown within me, and I feel as though they know me like no one else ever will. They walked through trials with me before they even took their first breath. And, you know, they see me in a light that I have not ever been seen in before. And they are very happy with me, and I am very happy that they exist. And I am very happy at the co-parent in this situation, because he gave them to me. And yes, people can see it. Like, people, I guess, get angry at the person that they have kids with. by all means. Who doesn't? They get angry at them. But people should really start turning around and thanking them. Because in all honesty, without that person there, they wouldn't be here. And if they weren't here, where would you be? Ask yourself that question and see what your answer would be. My answer would be that I would be utterly lost. Because there is nothing greater to me than the title I have won. You know, not even my degree, which I worked very hard for, by the way. I really did work my butt off. Okay? Worked my butt off. So I worked my butt off for a degree. I worked very hard. But even that does not give me the same amount of meaning that my children do. So, take it as you will. Take it as you want. My value has already been determined. My value has been determined by myself. My value has been determined by the people I have created. My value has been determined by the people who are my roots, like in yesterday's conversation. And my value is going to still be determined by my journey. You have to embrace everything that you are. You have to embrace everything that you have chosen to be. Just find your value, whatever that takes. Maybe it's Etsing everybody else. Everybody you've ever known in your life. How about that? Everybody you've ever known in your life. Maybe it takes Etsing them out completely. Maybe it takes being hurt by somebody because of their lack of acceptance. Maybe it takes going through and walking through that pain for you to find you and your value and your worth. Maybe it takes going to therapy. Maybe it takes drugs, like psychiatric drugs, of course. Maybe it takes a breakdown to make it through to a breakthrough. But honestly, I think that everyone should value themselves for who they are. And if you're a person who just is a little more reserved and not exactly considerate of other people's feelings, then by all means, that is you. Okay? That is you. People are going to have to get over it, especially if they know you. They have to embrace it. And if they don't wish to, then please freely let them go. Because at the end of the day, it's just complicated. You either have to be a person who is willing to change something that is vastly and negatively impacting your relationships or whatever have you, Or you have to be the person to say, screw it. This is me. This is how I act. This is how I wish to be. This is basically not going anywhere. No matter how you feel. Even if it's your parents. You know, if you're that type of person who can look over how your parents feel and just say, screw it, then by all means. Another thing, I find I have to say this because it seems to be a trend and it doesn't seem to go away. This is common, but I find that some people, not all people, but people who value their parents, here we go. Excuse me. That's disturbing. But people who value their parents' beliefs and life systems, let's say that, over what they have learned themselves and what they believe themselves. You know, by all means, respect and love thy mother and father. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but there is a point where you must separate from thy mother and father. Not saying that you must have a bad relationship with them. Not saying that you just kick them to the curb in their hour of need or anything like that. But I am saying that their values and their beliefs and their system that they brought through within their life does not have to be yours. Okay? Let's just make that clear. It does not have to be yours. What reason does it have to be yours? They created you in order for you to be an independent individual, for you to evaluate the world in your own perception. You go to school and you evaluated open-mindedness, then you should be open-minded. If you went to school and you evaluated, beyond religious boundaries, there's nothing that could stop you from accepting a person for who they are, then by all means that should be you. You are the next person in the cycle. You do not have to be a repeat. You do not have to put yourself in a position where you are essentially a copycat. I am not the copycat of my parents. I have some things in common with them that are just things I cannot control. Okay? There are things I can't control because I evaluated the type of paternal parent I have in how he treated people that he cared about because of how his father treated people who he cared about. Because I evaluated him and his journey and everything he did, I see it as, okay, maybe he's stuck because he's in denial. He doesn't accept these facts about himself. He says that it's not true. But his actions speak louder than his words, and we know it to be true. And I know I am a product of my mother as well. I tend to let in toxicity despite how much I know it could hurt me. But I feel as though I am better than her now because essentially, I have done better. I pushed the toxic people away. I embraced whoever was good for me at the time, or who I thought was good for me at the time, you know. But I embraced them, and I pushed the other people away quite cruelly. And I do apologize for my actions towards certain people, because it wasn't their fault that they just depended on people. It wasn't their fault that their value basically was what others could do for them, and therefore they couldn't just get up and do it themselves. You know, at the end of the day, people are just people. And at the end of the day, I have found that as I said, my value has already been determined. And I guess if these people are toxic, then I need them to prove that they are toxic. And if these people are here to walk through this journey of life with me and actually be there and so forth, and become more than what they currently are, then by all means, I am ready to embrace them as soon as they are ready. I ask no one to move at my pace. I ask no one to follow every single thing that I do. I simply ask that you are yourself, and that outside influences do not stop you from who you should be. Because at the end of the day, the person aging, the person heading to the grave at the end of this lifetime, the person lacking or fulfilling experience, the person going through these emotions, the person blocking themselves off from truly embracing greatness, is you. It's you. At the end of the day, it is you. And if you want to be a copy of what you've come from, then by all means be a copy. But know that you could have been so much more. That your potential was designed to make you better than the person you came from. Like, my potential is greater than the people I have come from. I know it. I embrace it. Not that I don't have the similar struggles that they've gone through, just that I am a bit the wiser to deal with them in a better manner. And with that, I bid thee good night.